Hello, Blue 6 students. This is Mrs. McHugh, and today we're going to talk about rhyme scheme. So a rhyme scheme is a pattern of rhymes at the end of lines of poetry. Each rhyme is assigned a letter, and that begins with the letter A, goes all the way to Z, and lines that rhyme are given the same letter. Now, this definition might be a little confusing, but we're going to look at some examples today to help you understand rhyme scheme better. And to get you to the point where you can look at the rhyme scheme in Maya Angelou's poem Life Doesn't Frighten Me and be able to identify it. So let's look at our first example. So this poem's called Mr. Brown the Circus Clown. And the best way to identify a rhyme is to read the poem out loud so that you can hear the words that are rhyming. And sometimes poets use words that aren't spelled similarly, but their intention is to have them rhyme. So when you read it out loud, you can really hear where the poet is trying to go with their rhyme scheme. So let's read this one. Mr. Brown the circus clown put his clothes on upside down. He wears his hat upon his toes and socks and shoes upon his nose. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the end words of each line. So looking at the first one, our end word is the word clown. And because this is the very beginning of our poem, we're going to give this one the letter A. Okay? Now the next word is down. Down and clown both rhyme. So we're going to also call this one A. Okay? Looking at the next line, our last word is toes. Toes does not rhyme with down or clown, so we're going to call this line B. And our last line here, the word is nose. Nose rhymes with toes, so it's also going to get a letter B next to it. So this rhyme scheme would be an AABB rhyme scheme. Okay, this is pretty simple. Let's look at another example. Okay, so this poem's called My Penmanship is Pretty Bad. My penmanship is pretty bad, my printing's plainly awful. In truth, my writing looks so sad, it ought to be unlawful. Okay, so starting at the top, our first word is bad. Automatically, we're going to put that A right next to it. Now the next line, our last word is awful. Awful and bad don't rhyme, so this is going to be a line B. Alright, the next line, our last word is sad. Sad does not rhyme with awful, but it does rhyme with bad. So this is going to be another A. And the last word is unlawful, and unlawful doesn't rhyme with sad, but it does rhyme with awful. It even has the word in it. So this is going to be line B. So this rhyme scheme would be called an ABAB rhyme scheme. Another pretty basic one. Alright, let's look at one more example. This one's called My Dog Does My Homework. My dog does my homework at home every night. He answers each question and gets them all right. There's only one problem with homework by Rover. I can't turn in work that's been slobbered all over. Alright, let's look at our rhyme scheme here. So our first word, homework, is going to be A. Our next one, night. Night and homework don't rhyme, so this will be a line B. Alright, the next line is question. Now question doesn't rhyme with night or with homework, so it's going to be its own letter. It's going to be letter C. And the last one is right. Right doesn't rhyme with question, but it rhymes with night, so that's going to be another B. Now in longer poems, you're going to have to use more letters than just A, B, C. So in this next line here, we got the word problem. So problem doesn't rhyme with right, question, night, or homework. So it's going to be its own letter here, and it's going to be letter D. Our next line is rover, and rover doesn't rhyme with problem, right, question, night, homework, none of them. So it is going to be its own letter, and that's going to be E. Our next one, work. Work doesn't rhyme with rover, problem, right, question, night, homework, none of them. So it's going to be its own letter, and it's going to be letter F. All right, and our last one is the word over. Over doesn't rhyme with work, but it rhymes with rover. So it's going to be another line E. Okay? So this rhyme scheme, you would call it ABCB, but we know that we've used other letters as we continued with the poem. Alright, so now what you're going to do with your group is you're going to read through Life Doesn't Frighten Me and identify the rhymes at the end of each of the lines of the poem and identify the rhyme scheme. Make sure you ask us if you have any questions.